Hey guys, and I have yet another video on the GEC 74. This is going to be the 74 Mustang, another special factory order from DLT Trading. There you go, there's their... there we go. There's their website and info. So this is the special factory order from DLT Trading. There was four versions in this. You have this one that we'll get to on the table, my previous video on the snakewood and orange camel bone, and one that I don't have and probably will not get is the white oiled bone. So this one here is the 74 Mustang and autumn leaf jig bone. So we have number 74, 5 for the drop point Skinner type blade, 1 for the number of blades, and 17 because it's a 2017 release. And so when you have the number 74 with the number 5 blade, which is a drop point, it is considered a Mustang. And of course this is in Northfield unexcelled trim. That's what all the DLT Trading special factory orders were all Northfield unexcelled, which means you have a nice bolster that has a nice lined bolster. So you have the lines in the bolster. It's not a plain bolster like the Tidute cutlery line in GEC. And you also have mirror polished blades, which catch fingerprints very easily. And so this one is the autumn leaf jig bone. And so on the etching of the blade there we have Northfield unexcelled and the Mustang for the line of the Mustangs here. So originally I wasn't going to get this, wasn't on the pre-order for it, and I thought they actually sold out completely of this. I saw this this pattern on Instagram and realized, wow, that jigging is great. It's really... we'll do some close-ups of it, but it's really interesting jigging and really interesting way the color came through on that. And I really like the 74 models, and I've bought a lot of the recent releases. Originally I got into the 74 model when I had my Esky Zulu. I still have the Esky Zulu, but when I found out that that was a number frame that Northwoods was using to build the Esky Zulus on, and I really liked the handle length and the ergonomics of the frame. And then it was announced that GEC would be doing a run of 74s in single blade instead of the double blades they did in the past with it's like a rancher trapper. Got really excited, so I put a lot of pre-orders down for these 74s, and this one wasn't one I was originally planning to get until I saw pictures of it on Instagram. So this autumn leaf jig bone is very, very intricate, or I guess you'd say almost random in a sense, but I'm sure there's a method to the madness here. But as you see, it's really nice, and you get all these different kind of tones coming through. You get a little bit of yellow, some orange, some red, and then some kind of darker blacks there from, I think, I'm guessing the jigging process. That's really, really nice, the way it came out. And if you watch any videos online about the way GECs are made, and especially if you talk or watch videos from the Apostle P, he will tell you that the jigging process at GEC is top secret. You can take a special tour of their factory and see a lot of how they make their knives, but as far as how they do the jigging with their bone materials for these knives like this, they will not let you see how they do it. That's a special secret within that company, which, I mean, I don't blame them. They're doing great work over there, and they don't want it replicated by other companies. So some secrets are their secrets. So kind of to compare This is another version of jigging from Great Eastern Cutlery. This is a TC Barlow. Now this is more uniform jigging, but that's also still very well done. That's a little bit darker on that side. So this was, yeah, so still very intricate jigging. And just to show you, like this is a case knife here. I believe this isn't the teeth, this is the mini trapper. And they of course do their jigging too, but if you realize that it's nice, but it's not as nice as this 74 Mustang here. Because it's kind of in between here, so it's not as uniform as this TC Barlow, but it's not as random and patterned as this 74 Mustang. I'll take that out of the way. So there you go. Just another kind of look at the jigging there. It's very, very nice. You have the oak leaf shield, which is on all the special factory order runs of this knife. Pull weight. Let's get that another try. So you got about a 6 probably to half stop, and then you have that great feature of the 74, which makes it about 7 or maybe closer to 8 from half stop to open, which is a neat feature where you have a lighter pull getting it to half stop and then a more tough pull getting it fully open, which means when you're using this blade it's a little bit more difficult to close. So the spring tension in the open position is a little bit tougher, which means you can work with it with not worrying about it closing on your hand as much, which is good. Definitely makes it safer, and that's something that's consistent with all the 74s, as well as the Esky Zulu that I have built on the GEC 74 frame. So let's take a look here. The blade is nice mirror polished. Now you can't pinch this open, one because the drop point doesn't really give you anything to purchase, and also with the mirror polished blades it makes it more slick. So typically it's a lot easier to pinch open the satin finished blades that are in the TIDU line. So this nice etching, mirror polish on the Tang stamp there. We have Northfield Unexcelled, made in the USA, which all GECs are made in the USA. And then here we go, GEC TIW for Titusville Ironworks, 74, 5 for the blade, 1 for the number of blades, and 2017 for the year of release. Let's see, half stop, just a teeny bit proud. Not that really matters that much, but just goes to show you GEC's got great quality coming out of their factory, that they can make something that performs this well and has this much attention to detail. Now, of course, this is not all flat because it's jig bone, but when we look over at here where the back spring terminates, you know, there's nothing there. It's all smoothed out, so you can't catch anything. When you get up here, of course, you feel the jig bone, but you can't catch anything. Now, back spring termination for this one, it's actually not perfect. Not sure if the camera's picking that up or not, but it is a little bit crooked, which is not a big deal. But out of all the GECs I have, I think this one doesn't have the best back spring termination, which is okay. It's not a big deal. Everything else on this knife is very well done. There's no gaps or anything. You know, I'm not sure if you can see any on this case or not, but this is one difference between GEC and case, and you can tell a little bit. There's a little bit of a gap here. I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up, but there's a gap there, like a hairline gap between the spring and the losing what I'm trying to say. Or they had a spring and the brass spacer here between the two blades. There's a little bit of a gap, and this is also a two-bladed. And we're not gonna be able to see that because they're all the same. But realize that with the GECs, there really is no gaps, and it sometimes happens, very rarely. But the reason that I prefer GEC over the case is just the fit and finish is just outstanding, and case is still pretty good. They're also made in the USA. Now GECs are a little bit more pricey, but you do get a better quality, and I think the walk and talk in all the GEC blades is much better. Cases seem to have pretty weak back springs from my experience of the ones I have, but yeah, GEC tends not to disappoint me, and this is definitely not a disappointment. This is a great knife. These 74s, they're a nice medium size. They're not too big, so they're not the largest pattern GEC makes, but they're also a little bit bigger than a 15 or even like a 77, which means you get a good amount of hand real estate there. And of course with the kick there, you can still choke up on the blade. So it's good for cutting tasks. Now, a lot of these people who buy Northfield on Excel, these are going to stay as safe queens because, you know, you might carry them, but a lot of people don't do a lot of cutting with these because they're just too nice to get messed up. Now they will do the job, of course. You get that 1095 high carbon steel. And of course, with all the high carbon steels, the 1095 high carbon steels that GEC uses, you will get either a rust or patina. You can patina it if you want to. It should naturally do it on its own over time. If you don't vigorously wipe down the blade and keep it oiled, it will happen. And rust you don't want, and pitting you don't want on the blade, and that sometimes happens as well. But the reality is these 1095 carbon steels, they cut very well. Usually out of the GEC factory, the knives aren't extremely sharp, but you can take a sharpener to it. I use a work sharp sharpening system, and usually it's pretty easy to put an edge on these that will work well. Sometimes I just use a ceramic rod in the work sharp and just touch it up a little bit, just drop it up, and it's good to go. So the 1095 will do well, and GEC is one of the best with 1095. Wow, this, I was not expecting this. It was one that I was not planning to pre-order, one that when they started releasing everything I wasn't planning to get. But when I saw pictures of how nice that jigging pattern is and how all the colors come through on that jigging pattern, I knew that it was a mistake not pre-ordering this. And I'm glad, and I'll put down the link in the description to DLT Trading. I'm not sure if they still have any more in stock. They might, because they did when I ordered this, and they've been released for at least over a week now. I can't remember when they got released, so they might still have some more of these. But I'm glad that I got it before I had to try to buy one on the secondary market for probably more than what they originally retailed for, which was around $100. But I think that that is a great price. Even if you have to pay a little bit more, I think that this is a great price for a nice jig bone pattern. And I believe this is cattle bone, which I think is what they use for most of the jig bone patterns. So yeah, there you go. That is the 74 Mustang, special factory order from DLT Trading, and autumn leaf jig bone. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. I appreciate all the new subscribers recently and commenters in my video. you guys make this enjoyable for me to keep doing, and I want to keep bringing you guys videos. So guys, thanks for watching.